1. I work for a convenience store and pharmacy in the States. It is a busy Saturday night, and busier than most with only 3 people on shift. Myself, the cashier, my manager, and the pharmacist. Because of this, my manager has been rushing back and forth between the pharmacy and up front, helping out however she can. Around 11 o'clock, we get an alert on our communication system that a same-day order pickup has been registered and assigned to our store, which means our manager now has to split her attention 3 ways to pick up everything in that order. Right as the order finished being put together, we get the alert that the customer is in the parking lot ready for our curbside service, which we had shut down at 9 o'clock for safety reasons due to the neighborhood our store is in. Manager tells the customer to queue in the pharmacy drive-thru, and we would be happy to deliver it to her that way. At this point, there is one other person in the drive-thru. Up front, I have not been able to get the line below 5 people all by myself, but I am processing customers at a pretty decent clip. I am made aware of the situation when, as I am in the middle of processing a customer, with a line of 7 customers deep, by getting a call on the store phone, which I answer with my polite greeting. "Thank you for calling. How may I help you?" "I am here and I'm waiting for service of my pickup order." Making eye contact with the lady standing out of line at the photo counter about 30 feet away. "I will be happy to help you with that in just a moment, miss." Then I go back to checking out the customer I am on. It is then that my manager chimes in to catch me up, that the order is ready back at the pharmacy. She's pissed me off, and I'm in no fucking hurry to convenience her by letting her cut in front of still 5 or 6 people who have been patiently waiting in line. Taking my sweet time without sounding rude to the other customers who had been waiting patiently, I clear the line, and she steps up to the counter. Before she can say anything, I say, "And what name is the order under?" And she proceeds to get snippy and spelling out her name. I look through the order pickups before pretending to get a message on my earpiece. I then explain that the order is filled and waiting for her at the pharmacy, as it was marked in our system as a drive-thru pickup. "You expect me to walk all the way back there?" Looking at the 4 people that had queued up behind her, and the 2 more walking towards the end of the queue. "Unfortunately, yes, as that is where it is right now, but I would be more than happy to ring you up for anything else you have while you're here." She turns and walks away without a word. 2. This happened a long time ago before this pandemic started. My mom and I were at Walmart shopping for stuff, possibly some grocery stuff too. My mom finds a shirt she likes and wants to go try it on. So we head to the changing room. I am waiting for her to try on the shirt and just looking at my phone while keeping an eye on our cart. So I get up to go find the bigger size for her, and I find it and hand it to her. I go back to where I was sitting when I hear, "Excuse me?" I look up and see Karen standing in a different changing room, holding up a shirt of some kind of clothing. "Here, get me a different size, it's too small for me." Sorry, I don't work here." "Well, you helped the other woman, why wouldn't you help me?" I was dressed in all black, not the Walmart uniform. "I helped her because she's my mom, and I don't have to help you if I don't feel like it. Besides, I don't even know where you got that from." "I got this from over there." She points to a random direction. "It's not that hard to find, it's right in the opening, so be nice and go get it for me now." "Sorry, but I was told to watch the cart and stay here in case something happens to our stuff. But you can change back and get it yourself." Karen angrily huffs and slams the door shut, hard. She might have slammed it too hard, because I noticed the door to my mom's changing room shake a bit. A few minutes later, Mom comes out, wondering what happened, and what all the yelling was about. I explain everything to her, and we walk away from the changing room. She puts the shirt back because she couldn't find one that fit her. But as we're leaving, I recall hearing a rattling behind us, so I stopped, looking around, and even waited for a bit for the rattling to start again. Mom noticed and asked, "Is something wrong?" I'm still looking, and I say, "I thought I heard something rattling." "Maybe it was a cartwheel," she says, "since a lot of these wheels tend to rattle loudly and get squeaky after a while. Let's hurry, we've been here much longer than we should, and your dad might get mad." So we just walk away, while I eventually spot an actual employee and let her know about Karen needing help in the changing room. Which she responded with, "Thanks, I'll head over and see what she needs." My mom and I head over to the grocery section, grab a few items before heading to the checkout area. While we were waiting in line, we hear over the PA system, can we get maintenance over to the changing room? We seem to have a bit of a problem over here. We started laughing over the call. We can only assume what the problem could be, since we haven't seen Karen leave the changing room. Cashier rings up her stuff, and we head home for the evening, not wanting to hear what happened, since Karen might accuse me of not helping her and possibly claim that I trapped her in the changing room. That rattling I heard when we were leaving the area could have been Karen trying to open the door, but since my mom was in a hurry, we saved ourselves from Karen's full wrath. 3. I work in a small general store. I have been at this particular store 6 years. I have been a key-holding manager 5, and I've been assistant manager for over a year. Needless to say, I have seen and experienced some shit, but this isn't the craziest, but oh boy. It's seared in my memory of one of the most annoying shifts I've ever worked. It's our busiest day of the week, and I've been at the store since 6 a.m., and I have just gotten off of break at 12 noon. I promise this is important. Remember this, as soon as I walk out, my cashier looks at me and goes, "Hey, I have an issue with a return, and I'm not sure what to do." No problem, she's developing a line, so I instruct the customer with the return to move to my register so I can help him, while the cashier continues to check out customers waiting in line. This is something that happens often, and I'm chill with it. Would rather take care of it myself and have someone who isn't sure how to proceed deal with it. If we were slower, I would have told them watch me to learn, but as it's busy, I'll just take care of it and move on. It's the Saturday before Memorial Day, and my plan was to start setting up displays of grilling supplies, cases of water, our Memorial Day flowers, etc. Things people would be looking for during the week to prep for the weekend. Alas, I had no idea I would be spending the next 2.5 hours of my shift dealing with this customer. He and his wife are both regulars, and they're the kind of customers that when they come in, you know there's going to be an issue. They believe they are entitled to anything they kick up in their little heads, and if they don't get their way, the threats come out. They're just exhausting. They are also far too familiar with our return policy, a policy I say every time we sell something that could pose an issue, or is a special case, like cell phones. Sir is here with a cell phone return. Ah, the headaches. Here they come. He has bought the issuing company's cell phone for his birthday, and it will not work. He explains that he has activated it, but it states there is no SIM card. I'm like, all right, let's see if I can just fix the issue without having to process the return. Customer has a working phone, and everyone is happy. I go through his settings, and sure enough, I get a pop-up. No SIM card detected. Open the phone. SIM card is there. Maybe inserted wrong. I take it out. Make sure it's right and put it back in. No SIM card detected. Okay, cool. I explain to him that I do not have another phone like this in stock right now, and he demands a refund. Coolio. I start the return, which deactivates the phone, and he informs me that he also wants a return on the minutes he bought for that phone. I explain that I cannot process that return, as it says so on the receipt. I show him, and this is when it starts to get loud. There are about 10 people in line currently, and 7 of them are behind him when he raises his voice and says, "If you won't give me my money back, I'll just call the police. They'll give me my money back." Hindsight is 20/20. I should have just told him to call. Would have saved me some time. I start to talk to him. He just talks over me louder, demanding that I give him his money back. I try one more time with the most polite voice I can muster, and once again, "I'm calling the police right now." "Sir, if you would calm down for 1 second and listen to me, you would understand that I am trying to help you solve this issue. Would you like me to call the issuing company to see if we can fix the phone so that there is no issue to be had?" Sudden attitude change. Probably because I damn near had to yell it to be heard over his tomfoolery. He obliges me, and I go outside to call the issuing company. We have to reactivate the phone. Fine, cool. Shoot a message to my store manager to let her know my till will be short. But the money doesn't exist since the return was never processed. I just needed to reactivate the phone through our system. Cool, we good. Try to reactivate his phone. 1 hour has passed. My relief has arrived as well as the night cashier by now, also important. Sir bothers me the entire time about how long it's going to take. I inform him that he can either wait or take the phone and deal with the issuing company himself. He chooses to wait. Duh. Still no luck. I explain to him that they're trying to reset the connection with the towers. Wait 30 minutes, turn the phone off, and try to make a call. He nods and leaves. Freedom? Not quite. 30 minutes later, Sir is back. He claims it still isn't working. All right, that you turn it off and back on like I instructed you? No. Okay, we do that. Still doesn't work. I inform him there is nothing more I can do for him, that he needs to call the issuing company himself and get it sorted. Once again, he starts to raise his voice and I cut him off. Sir, I have been attempting to fix this issue for you for 2 hours now. It's time for me to go home. I cannot help you. You need to contact the issuing company. He reluctantly shuffles away, only for his son to come back in the next day and tell me he needs a new SIM card. Something I would have suggested had the man given me time to speak. I sell him the SIM card for $1, and what do you know, it works. How amazing. Sir comes back in because he forgot all his cell phone accessories, and I give him the bag. He thanks me for being a big help. And here is where I maybe get a little facetious, because I respond with, "Of course, no problem, but next time, I will not help you if you threaten to call the police on me ever again." He claims he only threatened because that boy, aka my night cashier, got an attitude with him. I pause, stare at him for a moment before replying. Sir, when you threatened me with that, he wasn't even here. His shift did not start until 12:45, and he was not in the building until 12:30. Just have a good day. All right? He didn't respond, and I went back to work, which I know sounds very whatever, but it's an approximation of what I said. Remember, I came off of my break at 12, and I remember being outside on the phone with the issuing company when the night cashier walked through the doors. The only thing he said to Sir was to ask him to please stop making a scene inside the store, because I was outside actively trying to get his phone to work. I have no cell service inside my work building, therefore I had to be outside to take care of everything, so that my store phone would remain open for customer calls. And I am still just so confused as to how he thought the cops were going to get his money back when the receipt clearly stated, "Not valid for returns, refunds, transfers, and has no cash value" underneath the PIN number. I swear, I love my job. 4. This was about 2 years ago. I, 23 female at the time, worked in the customer service section of one of those many online bookstores. I am specifically one of the temps assigned to work with our kindergarten through high school contracts, rather than our universities, so during wintertime it's pretty dead. Maybe 3 to 5 calls and about the same emails daily. Mostly at this point I read ebooks or watch Netflix that my across-the-aisle neighbor and semi-mentor Alex has managed to get up despite internet restrictions. Now, we are all trained to handle all the divisions and took calls for all sections until about a month prior, when we got assigned our department for temps places. It's a very relaxed day for me, but winter classes are starting for a third of our contracted colleges, so they asked a few of the temps who had worked them previously to help out. There's only 10 of us, but a few can be a big difference in keeping call volume down. I am a people pleaser, so I volunteer. I'm taking simple calls that don't require a lot of knowledge and vaguely familiar with the rules. So all this is important because I've only been here 3 months, and it's expected we'll get calls we can't handle, so Alex is assigned to prioritize helping us, newbies, volunteers, voluntols out with the issues. So she gets to put herself in a way for calls and focus on emails and us. Things are going fine. It is mostly explaining over and over how to return your rentals, the concept that rentals have to be returned, and placing orders for courses students just enrolled in. Get repetitive and things are dying down enough we're about to be taken off their section. And then I get the call. So I answer the call with my customer service voice, hard-won from years in retail and being forced to smile. "Thank you for calling AZ Fell & Co. Bookshop. My name is Pepper. How can I help you?" I am met with an old lady screech. There is a certain sound in someone's voice that comes from decades of chain smoking. that I recognize from my all 5 grandparents, 5 great-aunts and uncles, and 2 great-grandparents. And this woman had that rough crackling and was very, very loud. Loud enough that my neighbor to my left actually looked at me, pop-eyed, and Alex, 4 seats down, starts rolling her chair down to me, scenting blood. So my ears are ringing as the woman finishes screaming, and I mean screaming, no words, and starts speaking very quickly. It takes me a few moments, but I eventually understand her enough to understand she's upset because she is outside our building, and no one is here, and she is 65 plus, and it's cold, and she was told we are supposed to be open now. I can't get a word in edgewise, and she starts speaking so quickly. Even I, certified speed talker, I'm only getting a few words like school and class. And cuss words, there are lots of cuss words. Fuck seems to be her favorite. This is my first time receiving a hostile customer and being yelled at. Here, at least. I've been pretty lucky so far and gotten used to a non-abusive work environment. I'm pretty anxious. I've never been good with raised voices, so my stomach feels like it's in my throat, and my hands are shaking a bit. Basically, my entire row is looking down at me. I'm currently the youngest of our group, which is made up of almost entirely women, who have a habit of being a bit maternal, and as office baby, they are somewhat protective. Alex looks ready to rip off the headset and take over herself, but per policy, I'm supposed to try to de-escalate first before going to that extreme. So she looks at me first, and I take a breath and shake my head. I try to speak. If I try, then I'm good, and I can just pass it over if I fail. I wait for a pause and say, a little shakily, that I'd be happy to help her, and can she answer a few questions so I can pull up her school information and figure out what is going on. She calms down enough to talk, though it's more like a wave, getting heated and then chill up and down. She explains that she is there to get a book for her required class, and the building is closed. I recognize the school from a memo about their on-campus store having emergency construction, I'd explain. She asks if she can order over the phone and get it sent to her house, which she can. Seeing things are calming down, everyone goes back to work. I sign in as guest and ask if she knows the title or the ISBN. She doesn't. She does know the class code, which actually makes finding it 1,000 times easier usually, so I search. Nothing pops up. She doesn't remember the course name. Can't tell me more than it's about cars. Okay, cool. This school has a lot of automotive classes. I ask for the teacher. She hems and haws and eventually gives me a generic last name. So I use the shortening for the auto courses and start manually checking every single one of the teachers and course title. There's multiple generic last names, and so I'm reading them off to her as I go. Nothing sounds familiar. At this point, we've been talking 30 or 40 minutes, and she's starting to get upset again. Though she keeps prefacing, not at me, cursing at the school, our agency, and everything from the weather to the parking lot she's been sitting in while we speak. I'm frustrated. She's frustrated. Finally, she says the important thing. License. I perk up. Because there's very few courses for certificates and licenses which have different codes. Progress. So I ask which kind. She says with the tone that I'm an idiot for asking,
"Well, a driver's license, honey."
And it starts to dawn on me. I ask her, "Ma'am, are you enrolled in fancy private university?" In a perplexed voice, she says,
"Of course not. I'm here for my driver's test."
The book she was trying to buy was, upon further clarification, some kind of booklet she gets with the driving lessons she's been required to take and pass to get her license, which are apparently hosted at this university. She is a little frustrated and building up at having to explain again. So I say, "Ma'am, we're a bookstore." Instantly, any frustration disappears with a small,
"Oh."
And she asks me to Google the number for the driving office for her, so I do and she hangs up. Still not sure how she got our number. 5. I, 19 and female, work at a large craft and retail store, and it was almost closing time. I was at the register waiting for stragglers to check out, and I had my back towards the exit, which is right behind the registers. There was nobody coming up, so I was looking around, and I noticed a woman walking quickly behind me towards the exit. By the time I saw her, she was already turning towards the doors and walking into the foyer, which leads to the outside entrance. And I only saw her back and a little of her side, enough that I noticed her arms were crossed over her chest, like she was holding something against it. I didn't think much of it, just yelled, "Have a good night." I guess she was so focused on getting out of the store she didn't notice me standing there. So when I spoke to her, she startled really badly and dropped what she was holding. It was a little vase that cost like $10, so immediately I walked towards her out into the foyer. I don't know why she stayed there. She could have just booked it, and I wouldn't have followed her. And I asked her if she was planning to pay for the vase, kind of in a snarky way, but it was late and I was too tired for this bullcrap. She got huffy and said yes, so I picked up the vase to bring it to my register and check her out. I don't know if that set her off or what, but suddenly she got pissed and snatched the vase away from me and said,
"I paid for this."
And then started talking some bull about my dirty paws being all over her property. I already knew what this was going to turn into, so I went to the registers and picked up a phone and paged my manager. A couple of my coworkers came up to the registers, and she started talking to them about how I had tried to steal her property and accused her of shoplifting, and yelled at her. They all knew she was lying already because I'm a very quiet, shy person, and I have never raised my voice, let alone yell at someone at work. The lady started telling my coworkers to call the cops, and also started saying that I had physically cornered her and she was afraid for her life. Now, this woman was tall and pretty broad, and I am average height and thin, so she's a good 5 or 6 inches taller than me and much bigger besides height. There's no way I could have intimidated her that much. My coworkers and I just let her carry on until my manager got there, and it turned out that he had been suspicious of her earlier and had been checking the cameras. When she tried to start her bullcrap on him about having me arrested and stuff, he already knew she didn't pay for anything and told her to leave and stop harassing his employees. She told him that she would be calling corporate. He said go ahead, and she stormed out after that. The kicker of this whole thing was that she was wearing what seemed like expensive clothes and nice jewelry, and when we watched her leave, it was in a car that looked pretty new and expensive. And she was trying to steal and make a big fuss over a little $10 vase, when she obviously has the money to afford many of them. I hate customers like this. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, episode 128. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. I have a little shout out. Let's see. Shout out to the author of story number 3, Reddit user the Batsami. Thank you very much for letting me use your story, the Batsami. Now, I'm a bad Hellfreezer. I check every day I'm doing videos. I check to see if there's any shout outs and birthday things to do. And I forgot one on Sunday. In my defense, I was trapped in a basement on Sunday. So apologies about that. And I will do it today. So a birthday shout out, 2 days late, goes to Sharon Wessling. A very happy birthday to you, Sharon Wessling, and I hope whatever you did on your birthday was very pleasant. And I hope there was cake, because, well, I always hope there's cake on most days, to be honest with you, but especially on birthdays, and there should also be ice cream, and if you're into alcoholic beverages, if not, a nice lemonade would do. So with my apologies, and my thanks for asking, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Sharon. Happy birthday to you. Alrighty. Now I'm going to head off and record Wednesday's video. I'm going to turn the fan on for a bit because I'm kind of melty right now. What is today's temperature? 25 centigrade. Yes, and before people start, it's not really hot where I live. Well, I don't live where you live, and we're used to cooler weather. What does that work out? in Celsius to badgers. Right, that's only about 77 Fahrenheit, but like I say, it's hotter than usual to us, and I believe it's going to get hotter. One of the reasons I've had to start wearing caps for the next few weeks. Although I must say I do look very fetching in my Brie Larson Captain Marvel cap. I like S.H.I.E.L.D. anyway, so with the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo on it makes me happy. Okay, and with that I'm going to head off for now, so until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.